Hello and welcome to Different Perspectives. I'm Paul Ndiho in Washington. Tonight, we take a closer look at one of the most dramatic Miss Universe competitions in recent history. Miss Mexico Fátima Bosch Fernández was crowned Miss Universe 2025. Still, her win comes after a public confrontation with a pageant executive that sparked a contestant walkout and raised serious questions about how women are treated on the global stage. Miss Bosch was berated during a pre-Sasha ceremony and escorted out by security. But several contestants also walked out in solidarity. She later said that she had come to be a voice and not a doll, positioning herself as one of the major contestants representing women empowerment rather than just glamour. Now, to help us look at this controversy and everything that went wrong, we are going to be talking to one of the legendary journalists who has covered this topic. But before we get there, beyond this controversy, there was also a very, very strong lineup of Africans who competed in this competition. As a matter of fact, 18 Africans contested, made their global mark on the stage, turning pageantry into a platform for activism, entrepreneurship, philanthropy, and cultural representation. Now, joining us is my good friend and former colleague, Lino Mudu, a global commentator, a journalist, and longtime advocate for women empowerment across Africa and here in the diaspora. Ms. Lino, welcome to Different Perspectives.
Thank you, Paul. It's really a pleasure to be on your show.
Likewise, for the first time, I'm glad to have you. How are you?
I'm doing good, and I want to congratulate you for this fabulous podcast that you've put together, and really wish you all the success. There is no way out except to succeed, so I can't wait to see where you take this initiative.
Wow, I appreciate that, Lino. This is something that has been a long time coming. When we were let go by the Voice of America, I sat down and I said, hey, you know what? I need to keep doing what I do. And one of the things that I thought about was to start a platform where I can keep engaging people on different topics or subjects that matter to the continent. So your presence here is very, very welcome.
And you are really doing a fabulous job at that. And really, you have all my encouragement. I know being let go after so many years was a bit of a shock for many of us who did not see it coming. But I think that things happen for a reason. When one door closes, another one opens, and you are opening your doors. Even if they are not open, you have to open them for yourself. And that's what you are doing. And I encourage you, and I'm rooting for you, Paul.
Thank you, Lino. I appreciate that. Okay, let's get into it. Let's start with the win and the controversy. With the win itself, what stood out for you? And how come this lady, Miss Fátima, who has walked off the stage, was later crowned as Miss Universe?
Paul, this year's Miss Universe, as you mentioned earlier, is one of the most controversial of all time. So we've never seen anything like it. And this started even before the final competition, right? During the preliminaries, there was a lot going on. You mentioned the issue that Miss Universe Mexico had with the country director, Nawat, I think is his name. So that right there was already a starter where all the cameras were switching their attention to Thailand to see what was happening in the pageant. So from her having the confrontation with the director and winning the crown, there is a lot that has happened in between. However, some people believe that that was one of the reasons why she won. Does it undermine her merits? I don't think so. I think that the fact that she raised her voice when she was singled out for not promoting enough the event according to the organizer, I think that really put her on the spot and really gave her a voice, right? And if all eyes were on her, so that was a good outcome for her because people knew who she was. Now, does it mean that she deserved to win? You had a panel of judges that decided. You also had different activities leading up to the final competition. The issue is she was not one of the most performing contestants, and that's one of the realities and that many people are saying, myself included. Why? Because I followed every step. Sometimes I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning just to connect with Thailand, given the difference in time. I woke up at 10 p.m. I slept earlier just to be in the know and see what they were doing every day as much as I could, because most of their activities, except for the judges' interview, the preliminary interview, most of the activities were televised, and you could see it on the stream on the web. So when I say I'm one of those who are contesting, not that she doesn't have any merit. She's I mean, when you look at her work as an advocate and her social activities, community involvement, she has a strong background. However, the contestant has its own rules, right? That we should not forget.
Mm. I like your take on it. Does that mean that maybe what helped her to get to the top was the simple fact that she stood out, she spoke out strongly about the injustice that was being uh, uh, done to all the contestants by some of the executives? In fact, I watched a viral clip of one of the executives who got into a confrontation with her. Could that have led to what ended up happening?
Some people said that was one reason why she stood out, right? And the fact that she stood out, she was speaking about not being bullied. According to her, he called her a word such as stupid or some similar word. I'm not sure exactly. I don't remember what she said, but I saw the clip where he was asking her why she was not participating in promoting the competition, in promoting Miss Universe, which has a big funding behind it. When you look at the sponsors and all the partners, part of the work that the contestants do is to promote the partners, and that's why they have so many activities, and also promote the country. And one of the issues that the director was pointing out was the fact that she was not as involved. Was it correct or not? I don't know. I wasn't there, but that was his take. And she pushed back, which was completely right for her to do so if she felt like he had no right or no ground to judge her in this regard. So she fought for herself, and she felt like she was being bullied, so she fought for herself. Now, does this mean that she has to win Miss Universe? I'm not so sure. I don't think so. I want to believe that she won for more than that. Otherwise, this is not a GI Jane competition. You don't go there, fight, and then win. No, there are established rules. Women have prepared very, very hard to get there. You have to prepare your walk, your speech, your wardrobe. It's a lot of investment, resource, physically, emotionally, and just to confine her win to that specific incident is not fair to all the contestants and even to herself, because I want to believe that she had more to offer than just fighting with the director and winning the crown. Now,
Now,
again,
to your point, you know, we rarely see such moments. Was the walkout more symbolic than solidarity, or does it point to the structural problems that some of these contestants go through, like every time there's a pageant like that?
I think that in this specific case, according to report, what I've read and what I saw, them walking out was about supporting her as in sisterhood and raising their voices as women. Even the running winner, who was the 2024 winner, also walked out. She was one of the first to walk out, and it was in solidarity of her, because the ladies did not agree. Many of them did not agree on how this was handled, for the director to speak to her like that, single her out, and basically reprimand her. And these are women that invest so much time and their heart, their mind into this, and you have to respect them. There is a way to talk to people that still show respect, and I think that's the sentiment. They felt like she was not respected to some point of being bullied, so they walked out in solidarity. Again, to my point though, does this mean that she has to win the crown?
Well, I guess so many things that go into making such a decision. When you look at, for example, her standing out and speaking out for all those women, I think in most cases people get a sympathy vote. So could it be that perhaps because of that, uh, expressing herself maybe led to people changing their minds and voting her as the winner?
Okay.
Maybe also, if I could add, are beauty pageants still relevant platforms for advocacy or social impact in 2025?
Okay, that's a very good question that you ask about the relevancy of beauty pageants in 2025. To go back to your first point about her being noticed and people changing their mind because she fought for her right, basically, I think that we cannot base an entire competition on one moment. You know why? Because this will be an unfair advantage to her. Yes, it was an advantage to her to speak her mind, although it wasn't a pleasant experience for her because she felt bullied. But does it mean that because she had that experience, all other efforts from all other contestants have to be undermined? Listen, many people agree that Olivia Yassé was the contestant from Cote d'Ivoire, was to be the winner. And if they did not take her, at least Philippine. But I think many people uh, agreed that it was supposed to go to Cote d'Ivoire. You know why? Because she was consistent. She delivered an exceptional and flawlessly executed performance throughout the competition. During the preliminary, she was there every single step. She was there, and she was brilliant. She was consistent. And one of the things that I didn't see with Miss Universe Mexico is consistency. I even look at her because of the incident that happened. The scrutiny was on her, so evidently my eyes were also on her, and I was looking at her as one of the people to watch. But I kept seeing that she was not putting as much as some of the other contestants. I felt like she didn't deliver. She was the least performer. And I will tell you something. The top five that went to the end, I had 3 out of 5 uh, because I had either Guadeloupe or Turks and Caicos in the top 5. Mexico was in my top 12, but was not in my top 5. Again, this is my opinion. Some people can disagree with me. That's fine. But I've been around pageantry since I was 16. And I have my personal experience. And I've even coached some women. 6 out of them, I coached 6 women over the years. It's been a passion, so I didn't do it regularly. but I did it sporadically, and all the contestants that I coached won. Even at the international level, I had two contestants go to an international competition, and they both won. So I have a little bit of discernment when it comes to pageantry. I never competed, but I'm just passionate about it in supporting other women. Now, some people have their own feelings. They don't think it's relevant. They think it doesn't value women when we talk about women empowerment. And I went to a phase in my life where I had that narrative too. I didn't feel like it valued women, because to put a bunch of women in swimsuit, walk around, people, I'm very conservative, and I disagreed at some point. But at the same time, I met some women that were interested, and because I had that thing about coaching and everything, I coached them out of maybe dedication or friendship or personal reason. I coached them, and they ended up winning. So why are beauty pageant relevant? This calls for debate, right? But I think that if we want to, because they're there to stay, they're not going to disappear. So let's look at the glass half full. You have a big opportunity for countries to build. If you look at pageantry internationally, it's definitely a big PR move, a big economic move, because tourism, culture, even politically, geopolitical move. There's a lot that goes into it. And for the women themselves, it's a platform to voice their if they have charities or they have issues that they're fighting for. To have such a platform is not always available. While around beauty pageantry, it has existed for many, many years. I think that there is a need to restructure beauty pageantry. I also organized a very important one in my country. And what I did, instead of having swimsuit, I had sports. So the sports part was about, I had a sports exercise. They wore, they were wearing sweatpants and joggings to show how fit they were, because we also were promoting, fitness, health. So I think these competitions have something to offer, but they have to be, there is a need for rethinking them, especially the swimsuit competition. And what I see now that the swimsuit have become, narrower and narrower now. They're walking around in G-string, I think.
Hey, we gotta see some stuff. Just
well, so, I disagree with that part.
Yeah, let's talk about. You talked about Miss Ivory Coast. Let's talk about African excellence in general. 18 contestants are from different African countries. Showcased their excellence at that global stage. They brought a powerful backgrounds from filmmaking to psychology, business leadership. What stands out about this shift for you, since you've been following these pageants for a very long time?
I think the contestants this year were very strong. Many of them stood out. For example, Zambia and Namibia. They had a very strong presence. I think that making this platform, the international platform such as Miss Universe, available to African contestants is very important, not only for themselves as a contestant, but also for the country as a whole. And I hope that countries invest more and more in the local pageant, but adapt it to the culture and to the realities. Many countries are a bit conservative. How do you reinvent that pageantry so that it doesn't shock the people's values and cultures? So I think one of the things that you have to recognize and acknowledge and praise with African contestants Many of them, if not all of them, are natural. And when I say natural, I'm not talking about wigs, or because people always complain, yeah, you guys are African, you reject your hair. Listen, when it comes to beauty pageantry, we are beyond the hair debate. Why? Because each person wants to put the best foot forward. Some women will think that it's with long fake hair like I'm wearing now, that they look better, or they feel better, or they have more confidence. No, I can wear my hair without the wig. Actually, I wanted to do that, but anyway, I didn't find what I was looking for. So I just put on the wig. So it's not about rejecting your identity. One of the things that you have to know and be mindful of is the fact that when you go to the international platform with beauty contest, a lot of them have plastic surgery done. Many of the contestants, I'm not trying to undermine or bash anyone or anything, but it's part of the culture, for example, in Latin America, that pageantry be associated with plastic cosmetic surgery. It's the culture, it's the pageantry culture, which we don't have in Africa. It's even forbidden in Africa to have plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery, and take part of the beauty pageant. I know from I can speak for
We
for
have
Cote
natural
d'Ivoire.
beauty.
Yeah, you have to be natural to compete. And when you go to Miss Universe, Miss World, many of the contestants have plastic surgery done, cosmetic surgery done. So the African women come there beautifully, naturally beautiful. Beautifully, naturally beautiful. This is my own making, because they don't have all this. I'm not aware if some of them did, but I know as a whole, as a rule in general, many of them don't have plastic surgery done. Many of these medical procedures are not readily available, anyways, in some of the countries. And if they are, they're very costly. So the contestants have to focus on what they bring. I can tell you, Olivia Yasse, from head to toe, all natural. She invested in physical fitness, and it was on social media. It was everywhere to see. You see, so she prepared physically. I think some of the thing that a couple of the contestants, African contestants, didn't have was the preparation, the physical fitness. Maybe there was, maybe sometimes the pageant structure doesn't have enough resources. They don't have the money to invest in a contestant. So she has to do a lot of things on her own. And even if they have the money, it's not as much as a country that is like so into pageantry like Venezuela, for example, or the United States. It's an
Right,
entire industry, right? So
right.
you have a lot of sponsors and funding. But if you take a country like Namibia or Zambia or Zimbabwe, they're pulling strings, they're doing the best they can, and the women come beautiful and natural. You see?
To the point that you just made, when it comes to preparation, you've helped, like you said, you've coached a couple women to compete in some of these competitions. What does it take to prepare these women?
First, the mind. It starts here. You can have a contestant that is beautiful, but if in her mind she's not ready, or she's stressed, or she's not secure, she's not going to succeed. She's not going to go as far as possible. I can tell you there was one of the African contestants who was beautiful, but she had personal issues in terms of mental issues, not mental issues because she was sick or anything, but because she felt a lot of pressure, and she felt like
She was
she
nervous.
was she was not ready among all these women, the contestant from DRC. See, so when you it starts with the mind, and then of course preparation, physical. It's this is the thing is, Miss Universe has adjusted its some of the criteria. Before, you had to be young, single, no kids. I mean, very, very strict. Now they've opened it. So that's why you saw women that are more than 40. They are mothers, they have children, they competed because the criteria are more flexible. But this is the jury. But de facto, when you look at who make the top 12, who makes the top 5, they have to look a certain way, right? That that criteria is still there. You have to look a certain way, you have to present a certain way. And then when you go to the top 5 now, what is the decisive factor is the question and answer. And that's one reason why people again are saying Mexico was not the winner, because she didn't have the strongest answers, right? They had 2 questions and she didn't have the strongest answers. That's why there is an outcry too, because once you get to the top 5, it's almost like you start from scratch.
Interesting. How about for people who have like young girls? I have 2 young girls. Maybe in the near future they might want to compete for something like this. What does a parent or anybody who is interested in sponsoring somebody do to prepare them for these kinds of events?
Beauty pageants have evolved over the years. Back in the days, you could just be cute, pretty, and that's it. But now you have to be very well spoken, well informed, educated at some point, because the competition is no longer beauty alone. It's also your mind and also your platform. What matters to you? So I will say, Olivia, for example, that was a childhood dream to compete in pageantry. So mentally, she prepared herself because that was her dream. So when you want to pursue a dream, you prepare your mental in that sense. So what I will say is, if the parents support the dream of the girl and they don't see any issue with it, then they have to start prepare them mentally and intellectually, so that they can go as far as possible, and then physically understand the importance of hygiene in terms of your health, because when I say hygiene is not it's not about the body being wearing deodorant or anything. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about health and fitness, your diet. How do you eat? Because there are some things that are like an investment. You invest early and you win later. This is your health and fitness, your education. Those 2 are major investment if you want your little girl to compete later. She has to be open to the world. She has to know current affairs at her level. Of course, I'm not asking her to give us a dissertation on the war on Ukraine at 8 years when she's 8 or 12 or 10. You know what I mean? But at her level, she needs to be open to learning, take her education very seriously, also understand that her body is also a very important aspect of it. Take care of it. Exercise. If she's young, you're not going to stress her about exercising, but it's a way, it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. And but again, first education and reading a lot is important. Reading a lot and build her self-confidence, because it doesn't matter how beautiful a girl is, how educated a girl is, if she's not self-confident, it's going to show during a contest like a pageant.
You know, I wanted to circle back to the point you made earlier. We were talking about how, for example, there was a lot that transpired with the judges. Let's talk about accountability for some of these people who are the executives in some of these pageants. Several judges resigned, alleging bias and rigging. I could not believe myself when I was reading some of this stuff that people were actually this was a rigged process. So how credible are some of these concerns that were being raised by people like you who are observers?
Well, I think that with this particular edition, some very credible judges raised their voice. Mr. Omar Harfouch said that the top 30 was already decided, allegedly. So you cannot say, oh, he's lying, because we don't know what happened behind the scene. And also you have the owner that says that this is simply not true. I think that one of the thing is, there is a reality in pageantry in general. I'm not speaking about Miss Universe particular. Some of those pageant competitions, sometimes one owner can just undermine an entire judging process to say, I want this person to win. And the entire thing, I've seen it before. And the real winner will be first runner up, second runner up, as a consolation prize. We've seen it before. A lot of times there's a lot of, listen, they say follow the money. There is a lot of money that is put
moving
behind
around.
these sponsors, partners, deals. Sometimes it's even political. Don't forget, when you reach the international level, even local level, you will see some political. If you have a country where they have different political parties, there is so much at stake when it comes to pageantry. It's not a black and white process. So yes, I can say that this can happen. I'm not saying this is what happened with Miss Universe, but there's no smoke without fire. One of the judges, one of the sitting judges who took part in the judging process, said that she's a former Miss Universe. She says she will not participate again in Miss Universe until there is more transparency in the scoring and judging process, because she felt like, you know, the result was not as they expected. You see, so there's no smoke without fire, and the
So should
gentleman owner. Yes.
now, based on what you're saying, if I hear you correctly, you seem to suggest that so many things happen like behind the scenes. Are there like calls for maybe a global policy to protect these contestants from misconduct or public humiliation? Or on the other hand, what reforms can these pageants have in place to make the process very transparent, very ethical, and empowering for some of these young people who want to be future contestants?
One of the things that was happening in past Miss Universe that didn't happen this year, which is one of the issues that the sitting judge was complaining about, is the way they tabulate the score. In the past, they will have an independent cabinet consulting firm take the results. Each time the judges are done with, noting the grading the contestant, they will give the notes to the cabinet to do the tabulation and have the final result. So it was an independent, credible process, that's how it happens in many countries. I know in Ivory Coast, it's part of the process where there is supposed to be at least that to happen. And I think that's one thing that will also rebuild trust, that the scoring be done, the calculation be done by an independent consulting firm. And also, the rules are known, but there has to be more clarity in terms of the judging process. I think there was a bit of confusion. For example, they had a voting system online through an app. So they had different categories where the ladies were supposed to vote, and then the top 30 were going to be selected from that voting system. But that wasn't very clear. And when you look at the top 30 that were selected, not many of the girls were part of that 30 that were selected. Some of them were, but not all of them were. And are you taking the top 2 of each category or the top 3? So there was a little bit of unclear information there. I think the judging process has to be clear. The ladies also have activities prior to the final competition. Apparently, during those activities, they also look at them, how they behave, what are some of the things that they are doing that can position them at a certain place. So I think clarity in terms of the criteria, so that it's, and then an independent judging process, not having results before the final, not opening. One of the things that really bothered me was the fact that they had those different categories that people had to pay and vote. I don't have a problem with paying; it's a business, right? But some of the categories that were open were not even available. For example, evening gown. How do you vote for an evening gown category when you haven't even seen the gown? So people were just voting to support the candidate, but it wasn't accurate. Best evening gown, best costume, all these categories were not available to be seen before. So I think the scoring, the judging was very unclear, right?
Interesting. How can Africans who are very much involved in this pageantry, make their mark? What is it that they need to do, maybe to to keep winning and representing Africa the best way they can? Hello, hello, Lino, are you still there? Okay, it looks like I've lost Lino Modu. She is my former colleague. Thank you so much, Lino. Lino Modu is a global commentator, journalist, and long-time advocate for women's empowerment across Africa. Lino, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your insights, and I look forward to hosting you on another edition. Let's, I guess, Lino, are you back? Are you back? Okay. Miss Universe 2025 may be remembered for more than just a crowning moment. It became a stage where women demanded respect, accountability, and the right to define their purpose on their own terms. And for African contestants to continue to prove that beauty pageants can be a platform for leadership, culture, and meaningful change. We want to know what you think about Miss Universe 2025 and the controversy surrounding the pageant. And perhaps, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow Paul Ndiho, me, on Substack, X, Facebook, Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Spotify. That's it for today. We look forward to having you on another edition of Different Perspectives from Washington. Good night and so long. Thank you.